Welcome to the Addicted to DVC podcast, a deep dive into all things Disney Vacation Club. We share tips, tricks, and insider info, helping you make the most of your membership. Join us for the latest news, reviews, and interviews with DVC experts and enthusiasts. Whether you're a seasoned DVC member or considering your first contract, this podcast is for you. Now, here are your hosts, Mike Hurley and Gary Arruda.
Welcome to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. This is episode 6, recorded in the DeFont Leroy Recording Studios in Sarasota, Florida, and Cranston, Rhode Island. I'm your host, Mike in Florida, joined by my co-host and cousin, Gary, up in Rhode Island. Good evening, Gary.
What's going on?
How are you?
I'm doing good. That was a very enthusiastic intro.
Yeah,
I got a little Suzie.
I got a little rest before this podcast.
It was like very professional.
Show on Netflix, and I dozed off.
We were watching a show. I watched the show and you fell asleep.
Anything good? I've been looking for a new show to watch.
It's called The Stranger. It's one of the Harlan Coben mystery kind of things.
Is it? It's a show, a series?
Yeah, it's a limited series. It's only 10 or 12 episodes or something. We just started it.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
But it's set in Britain, so
it's okay. Nothing's perfect.
You've never taken one recommendation. I'll always send you stuff. Did you watch that? Oh, I didn't have a chance yet.
I watched that.
Busy being sick.
Little Fires Everywhere. You told me to watch that.
Oh, did you like that?
No, I didn't really enjoy it that much, but I did watch it.
I don't even know what that was about.
I don't remember either. But
yeah. It's the one
you
with
told me to watch it.
Reese Witherspoon, right?
Yes. Anyway, we got a lot to get to, parts.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Enough of this nonsense. We're on to part 3 of this DVC Member Cruise review. So that means you're on to nights, 5 and 6?
Yes, sir.
At this point? All right.
Yeah, days 5 and 6.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We'll get right to it. Tell me what happened. You had more ports, right? There were no days at sea in between any of these ports, right? Only at the beginning and the end you had days at sea.
Correct.
Right.
That's tough. I feel like it would have been, obviously it didn't work out because it was Italy and they're all close, but probably would have been nice to have a day at sea in between some of these excursions to kind of stay on the ship.
It was nonstop.
But you got to do it and you're in that situation.
Yeah, I guess if you've already been to Europe and you've been to some of these places, then maybe you could have stayed on the ship one of those days, but that wasn't our situation, so I wasn't willing to give up time in Italy to stay on the ship.
That's what I mean. If a once in a lifetime type of thing, first time there, you're not gonna hang out in the bingo hall all day.
Right.
It's Disney Cruise Line. We don't have bingo halls.
I thought they had bingo.
No, well, you have a little, but we don't have gamblers. None of those degenerate gamblers parts. They're over on the other cruise lines.
Jimmy Buffett Cruise Line.
Yeah, we're straight up over on Disney Cruise Line. We might partake in a couple of suds at night watching the PGA Championship with Hippie Guy, but that's about the extreme,
Wonder if Hippie Guy partook in anything else at night.
I don't. Not from what I know. I was kind of babysitting.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I took.
You were in charge. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, I was in charge. As we're going to find out later in the not necessarily this episode though, we did find a bar that stayed open till 2.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, and that was Hippie Guy leading me on. The elder statesman. I know a place that it's open till 2.
The great thing was when he was like, I'm going to go up to the room now. And then we left and he was having a beer somewhere else.
Yeah, I love that guy.
It's very funny, though, because you're on a boat. It's not like he just stumbled upon this new place. It's been there the whole time.
Right.
I found this new place that's open till 2. It's like, well, maybe if you just read the brochure, you would have known about it the first day.
Yeah, I think what his problem was that he had every intention of going up to the room at 11:30.
Yeah.
And then as he walked out of the sports bar, he said, yeah, maybe let me have a nightcap.
There you go.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
So day 5.
Day 5. What was our stop?
Day 5 was Naples.
Ah, very nice.
But we did not go into the city of Naples. we went to Pompei, and then Sorrento, and then Capri.
Oh, you figured out how to pronounce it like a local, huh? It's
I
not.
did.
It's no longer Capri. It's
It's not
Capri.
Capri. It's
Capri.
Capri.
Capri. Okay.
I didn't know that. It's
Mhm.
news to me.
Yeah.
So how
And
was
what would you
this
say?
excursion?
This was not your favorite day.
No. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It was a good day. So long. Another long bus ride. We're going up a mountain, and you just hit traffic. Because what was our first? What was our first stop?
We went to Pompei first
Went to
because it gets
Pompei.
really hot, and so we got there first thing in the morning. We were there before it opened. And it was kind of an interesting deal because, like I mentioned, a lot of these tour guides have shops or whatever, and then if you go in and listen to their spiel, they'll let you use the bathroom.
Yeah.
So in Pompei, it was this little shop where they hand make cameos, which I'm not sure if you know what a cameo is,
No.
but it's basically like usually a silhouette of a woman on some kind of, like I have one that's on a piece of onyx. They make them on shells there.
Oh, okay.
Um, and it was really cool because, like we actually got to watch, the artist make one in front of us. But, then they were talking about Mike actually liked the owner of the place because he's like, if you pay cash, we'll give you a discount of, like this much. If you do this, we'll give you a discount on this much. He's like, and if you can't afford any of it, but you want to take my mother-in-law home with you, then you can have whatever you want for free.
Ew. That was a good one.
I like that one.
I did enjoy that. But those mother-in-law jokes, they never get old, do they?
It's always funny. It does.
It's
It's
so
across.
good.
It's across all nationalities.
I
Everything.
mean, the when you tow a 7-iron and it only goes 150 yards, the mother-in-law looked good leaving, but didn't go far enough. I mean, there's just so many good mother-in-law jokes.
That is a good one.
So that's when we got split up, right? Our groups got split up.
Yes.
Because I was laughing like a child, right?
Yes, you were.
So one of the tour guides parts, his name was Guido.
Oh, that's funny. That makes you laugh, doesn't it?
It makes me laugh. It makes me laugh. And every time our guide would say Guido, Kristen would turn around and I'd be laughing.
Yeah.
But also, the guide's Italian, so she's not just saying Guido. She's saying, if you hear me, you're
Guido.
gonna be with the me. If you hear a Guido, you're gonna be with the Guido. And
They
he's
use the
cracking up like a
A's.
child.
So like she splits the group and she's, we have like our things. We're going to be on channel 1. You're going to be on channel 2. Well, the obvious thing is if I hear her, she's going to be my guide. But she did it. If you hear a me, you're going to be with a me. If you hear a Guido, you're going to be with a Guido.
And you like that?
I thought it was hysterical.
He's
So that
been
was
saying it for the last 5 months.
And he was perfect. He had that hat. He had the Payne Stewart hat.
Oh, really?
He was beautiful. I've got a picture. I've got a couple pictures actually of Guido.
Now, if you didn't know his name and you saw him in Italy, would you think his Guido is his name?
You're Luigi.
Yeah,
or
Salvatore. Okay. Yeah. He was definitely like
Italian.
I know as soon as he was done with that guide, he was lighting up a heater.
Yeah, he wasn't
shitting.
John or Michael. In other words,
No, he was a
chance, yeah.
Guido.
But Mike was saying at one point during the day, he's like, you don't think about the fact that these are actually people's names. He said, like when you grow up, especially in Rhode Island, like, oh, he's such a Guido.
Did you call people Guidos? Or
all the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're such a Guido.
Probably not even supposed to say that. That's
now
Italian discrimination.
That's hate speech right there.
Anti-Italian discrimination.
So what did we do there?
So we walked through the ruins and they talked about the fact that Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD and decimated the town.
Right.
And these people pretty much just, died as they were. They were just kind of petrified. And they were saying that they've only unearthed about 80% of the site,
wow.
which is crazy. But it's remarkably intact in terms of, the structures. And yeah, obviously there was some damage and whatnot, but I mean, a lot of it is still in place and you can kind of tell what it was.
It basically like carbonized everything instantly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like in the marketplace, they had was it mosaics or paintings? I think they were paintings that showed like what each stall was. And you could still see like this one was bread and this one was fish. And it's really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I
And they
can't
were
imagine
doing
like a natural disaster coming on that quickly where you don't even like stop what you're doing
right.
before it overtakes you.
Because how far was Mount Vesuvius?
I mean, you could see it. I
Yeah.
don't know what the distance is, but Mike's like, that's not an active volcano, is it? I'm like, yeah, that's an active volcano.
That would have been bad.
Yeah.
Don't you worry though, Pods. We already have Rhodey's in the will. He's going to up to Cranston.
Oh, perfect.
So if we ever got hit with one of
You
those,
say my mom and dad are taking him?
yeah, he's gonna be showing up at your doorstep.
All right.
He'd gladly live in that basement, nice and cool down there. And
Gary won't be able to breathe.
Yeah, Sarah too, but that's all right. We'll figure it out. That's what Clarendon was invented for.
But I thought it was really cool. You know, just the level of civilization that you could see from back then. You know, like they had pretty much everything we have now, with the exception of the technological advances. But you know, the artwork and the pottery and the jewelry and whatever, it was really cool. But then obviously they didn't have, you know, like sewer systems. So a lot of the slop would run through the streets. And so they had these big kind of round stones in the middle of the street so that you could cross without having to step into the muck.
That's nice.
Yeah. What if anything stuck out for you there, Mike?
Not much. It was too much history for my liking.
I feel like plumbing is a pretty good invention in civilization.
Plumbing's good.
One of the better inventions, I would say, don't you think?
Top 10 probably. Maybe that could be an episode. Best inventions of life. Fire, wheel, plumbing, air conditioning.
How would your Disney trip be without any of these things?
Yeah, no kidding.
Deodorant.
That's a good
You
one.
can get away without deodorant. That's not a top 10.
If you're packed onto Soren, you might not.
Not a pet. Not a
might
top
want the
10.
person next to you to have it. But then we left there. We got back on the bus and we drove up the coast to Sorrento, which was an absolutely gorgeous drive. But very twisty, very narrow roads. And the drivers there just do not care.
Oh, jeez.
We looked out the bus window and there was a tiny strip of road between the bus.
I mean, it's
and
like
the side of the road.
It's like going up, like in New Hampshire, the Kangamangas Highway.
Yeah.
And you just have, and you're just stopped in both directions, and these Vespas are just buzzing in the middle lane.
Oh, they're going in between the
cars. On the side, on the breakdown, you name it. They are just moving, and there is literally no room.
That's wild.
But we loved Sorrento. We didn't have enough time there. What did we have, like 2 hours?
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah, that's a place where you could literally spend a long weekend.
Oh, yeah.
You could spend 3 days there. Oh, there's just so much stuff going on. It's gorgeous. It's right on the water. It's on a mountain. It's beautiful.
We had really good pizza there. And it's funny because, you know, pizza was invented in Naples. And so everybody says that, like, as soon as you leave Naples, it's not the same.
Right.
But
and you want to talk about Rhode Island pizza snobs. These people were terrible. But the lady who had the microphone on the bus, she was from Naples. So she said that there's a couple pizzerias in Sorrento where the owners or the chefs are from Naples. So they trained in Naples. So the pizza is going to be okay there.
Oh, it's okay.
Can you imagine it? The pizza's invented here. And you're telling people an hour from here, don't even bother getting any pizza.
And it's 70,000 times better than what you're going to get here.
Yeah, because we walked around like the downtown area, and it was pretty cool because DCL brought some cameramen out. So
really?
So they took some pictures. So we scanned our band and got a couple pictures taken in Sorrento.
Oh, nice.
And then she told us, gave us like an hour and a half, said, here are a couple of food recommendations. You're on your own. So we went over to a pizzeria. And what was that cocktail you got?
So everybody says that when you go to Italy, you have to have the Aperol spritz.
Okay. I've heard of it. I've never had one.
It's awful.
Oh, really?
I did not care for it at all. It tasted like Dayquil. And it kind of looked like it too. It was like a thick orangey drink. It was very, very sweet, but it had a strange aftertaste. So I was not a fan.
It's a wine-based cocktail. It's made with Prosecco, bitters, and soda. Did I lose you there for a second?
Yep. You broke up. Yeah, you're fine.
Oh, sorry. I was looking up the recipe.
Yeah, I tasted it
with Prosecco, and it's just too sweet.
Yeah, it was sweet. It tasted like garbage. It was
sweet,
awful.
It was thick. It just wasn't good. I drank the whole thing, but I had to force myself to do it.
You can't waste it. Yeah.
Paid for it. I'm drinking it. But we had a caprese salad that was amazing. And then what did we get? A margarita pizza, and what was the other one? So like a meat?
Yeah, like a meat lovers. So anyway, we were talking about the caprese salad.
Yeah, and how amazing it was.
Then we got 2 pizzas.
Nice.
Can't just get one, right?
Well, you got to try 2 different kinds if you're there.
Yeah, so I got a meat lovers, and you got just your standard margarita.
I'm surprised they have like a meat lovers. Like that seems like a very American version.
It wasn't your American version, though.
No, I'm surprised they even had it like at all, even the Italian version of it.
I don't remember what was on it though. Do you?
No, there was just a couple. Like it was probably like Italian, like salami, prosciutto. Yeah, it was like just prosciutto and like some cavacola or something.
Was it good?
It was delicious. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine like a caprese salad. Like they probably make the mozzarella there.
Yes. Yeah. It was just bleeding when it came to your table. It was so good. Like those tomatoes, you had to put your sunglasses on to eat them. They were just burning your eyes. They were so bright. So good.
That's awesome.
Sitting outside, it's like, I mean, there's no humidity. It's like you're in Los Angeles. It was like low 80s. Just no, oh, it was beautiful.
It was so nice. We
could have spent a beautiful area too.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's kind of like the high rent district.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, what did it remind you of American wise?
I mean, it sounds like Malibu, like in the mountains along the water.
Yeah, it's it's high rent. It's
I don't know. I don't think it's that expensive.
No. But it wasn't like a typical coastal beachy town because it didn't have a lot of the
maybe like
tacky...
Carmel a little bit.
Yeah.
With all the flowers and like it was just very, very picturesque. And walkable, which was really nice.
Very walkable.
That's cool.
But then when we left, we took a boat. And so we had to walk down this very, very steep staircase.
I mean, it was like going down. Yeah, it was just. Yeah, if you like somebody like you don't want to look over the railing.
I probably wouldn't enjoy it.
Was steep. And you just walked and walked and walked. And then once you got down to the bottom of the stairs, then you had to walk the decline down to the boat dock.
And how far was the boat ride?
It was a good half hour or so.
Half hour, 45 minutes, somewhere around there.
That's not bad.
Well, that's not bad. But then we got stuck on the boat for what? Another half hour, 45 minutes.
They didn't have
they didn't have a slip.
Yeah, they didn't have a slip for us.
And it was, I wouldn't say it was rough, but it was a little choppy.
Well, you're just sitting there idling, and it's just like
right.
Yeah.
But it cut into our time on Capri, which was really unfortunate because at the bottom, like when you get off the boat, all that's really down at the bottom of the hill are like little tourist places, so you can buy
Yeah.
some souvenirs, you can get a gelato or a drink or whatever. But like the town, there are two towns, and one's kind of midway up, and then the other one's all the way at the top. But in order to get up there, you either have to walk, take a taxi, or you take a funicular.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody kind of takes the funicular. So getting up there was fine. Our cruise director, tour guide, whatever you want to call, like had the tickets for all of us. So she gave us the tickets. We get up to the top and she's like, okay, you have, what did she say? Like half an hour,
Yeah, 45
minutes or
minutes.
something at the top. So we really didn't have time to do much there at all.
Because we had to get back onto the boat to head back to Naples. So
Yeah, so you lost like half your time waiting for a dock to
we
get
got a
up.
gelato and we walked around the town, but we could have easily spent a few hours up there.
Which again, absolutely stunningly gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the gelato was good.
It was excellent.
But Mike had chocolate gelato, and it was warm and it was melting. We're standing in this crowd of people because they don't really like do lines there. It's kind of a free for all. And we had to be down at the bottom to get on the ship by a certain time. And like Mike is freaking out that we're not going to make it.
My biggest fear parts. That's why I don't leave the States. I'm just like you. She dragged me onto this trip. And we're at the top, and I'm like, we're gonna miss the boat back to Naples, and the DCL is gonna take off. I'm not gonna see hippie guy again the rest of my life. Gary's gonna end up inheriting my golden retriever. Just all these bad thoughts were going through my head.
You think you would have died there? That you couldn't have like
I wasn't sure. My heartbeat started.
He was not. That was not the best part of the trip for him. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Because you'd see what do you call it? A vasectomy?
No, that's not what it's called.
What is it called?
The vehicular, whatever she called it.
Funicular. I thought it was a funicular. So you'd see this thing because it would depart every like 6 minutes. And there it goes. And then we didn't move. And then there goes another one, and we didn't move. I'm like, oh my God, we could be stuck here. And I'm looking at my watch. We got to get on this boat in 15 minutes. And there's no sign of getting down.
And his chocolate gelato is dripping all over my white jacket.
I got the sticky fingers.
Yeah.
So we finally get down, and our tour guide's already at the bottom, and he's like, what the heck?
It was like magic because she was the one that was rounding us up, trying to get us onto this thing.
Yeah.
And it was like she flew. It was like she was Peter Pan. We get down to the bottom, and she's there. And I'm like, where the hell did you come from? She had one of those old fast passes.
Yeah, I guess so.
But it all worked out. We made it back, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah.
He didn't have a heart attack or a stroke or anything.
That's good.
Yeah.
And that was it for the
Yeah, that was it for the excursion. It was a long day. It was another long day.
A lot of traveling. Not as much like seeing, it sounds like.
Right.
Yeah. So you had pirate night. You guys dressed up. I saw some pictures.
Our room attendant had stuff waiting for us.
Yeah, you had like an eye patch or something, right?
Well, we got an iPad. We got that from one of the girls who was at our dinner party.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she made stuff for all of us. It was fantastic. Yeah, when we sat down for dinner, she handed out she gave us eye patches and
a little coin.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
A chocolate coin, which we also had left in our room for us by the room attendant. But that was the night she made the Kraken with the towels, and that was cool.
Now this pirate night, that's when they do the fireworks, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it a special dinner, or is it just like you go to whatever your
it's pirate themed.
I don't know where the camera is.
It's right there. You can see.
Oh, yeah.
You can see them.
That's cool. So it's like a uniform menu at all the rotational ones.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's all the same, but
like you don't miss out going to if your rotation happens to be at this one place. It's like
no.
Everyone kind of has the same
because our
experience.
servers were all dressed up.
No, like there was a Calypso crab cake. What did they have? They actually had a Johnny cake, which was surprising. You don't see those outside of Rhode Island too often.
No.
They had a seafood pasta. They had a grouper fillet. They had jerk chicken. So it was a little more.
These pirate nights are more themed to the Caribbean ones, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But it was fun. You had a good time at it?
Yeah, we did.
It was a lot of fun. The fireworks were amazing.
Yeah. That's got to be a very cool experience.
It's crazy. I mean, the show itself was amazing. And then the fireworks were just over the top.
Yeah.
It's not something you really expect to see on a ship, except that everybody talks about the Disney cruise doing it, so you
Right.
know it's coming, but it's still really cool.
Right,
And
because
then
they're the only cruise line that's allowed to do fireworks, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we read somewhere that a lot of the other cruise ships will kind of try and get close
Try to hover.
on that night.
I've
so
heard
they
that.
can still see
Yeah.
them.
I've heard that.
Now, you lost what you thought was an earring
Yes.
that night because we were watching, and then she disappears, and she's going to go back to the restaurant to find out if she dropped it somewhere.
Yeah, and they were phenomenal. I mean, I went back in and our beverage girl was there, and then the server was still there, and they're like, "Oh, let me look." They like undid the tablecloth to see if it was there. They were like crawling on the floor. I'm like, "I can do this. You don't have to look for me." They're like, "No, we'll help you. We'll help you." And we couldn't find it. So I went up to guest services and just, let them know that I had lost it. They took a picture of the other one so that they came across it. They knew who it belonged to.
Next morning, our room attendant, when we were leaving, said, "Oh, I just got notice that you lost an earring. We'll be on the lookout for it." I was like, "Wow, this service is
It really was incredible.
insane, insane."
And then it turned out that it was in our room and had fallen out, I guess, right after I put it in, but it was kind of under like the chair.
Oh, geez.
So I didn't see it. But like we got a note left on the door from guest services. We're keeping an eye out. So
That's
it was
funny.
really, really good.
I mean, not funny, but glad you found it. It's funny that
Yeah.
it was there. It's good that it was there.
Right. So then I thought maybe people thought I did it on purpose because I only had one earring for Pirate Night.
There you go. That works too.
And then I think I went to bed after that, right? And
Yeah.
You went back to the bar?
Yeah, I hung out with hippie guy.
Hippie guy, yeah.
Yep.
Was he dressed like a pirate at the bar? Hippie guy?
No, he was not.
No. Okay.
No.
I wasn't sure.
No, he just wore his like little piece chain. He dressed like Bill Lambert. That's where he got the name hippie guy, and he was from Austin, Texas.
You mean Bill Walton, right?
I'm sorry, Bill Lambert. Yeah, what am I thinking? Yeah, Bill Walton.
Okay.
Like one night he had the tie-dye shirt.
Nice.
So Grateful Dead. I mean, guy, and he was a big music nerd. So he was worse than me. He was like, if you made eye contact, you were done. He was talking to. I mean, he would turn through husband and wives, like 3 or 4. They'd come down after dinner, have a drink. They'd leave. Another couple would come over. Tim would go sit belly up next to them, and then it was a match made in heaven. You know me.
Yeah.
And just have a hippie guy who's just as bad, if not.
Especially with all DVC owners. So you're asking everybody, where do you own? How many
where
points
do you own?
have?
How many points do you have? I was pulling out my pad like a cop making a traffic stop. I'm flipping
Taking
over.
notes.
Tim's got 175 Key West.
Just think on that boat, there must have been over 1 million points.
Oh. There might have been 1 million points on that when we were doing pizza, and that guy had all this Grand Cal and Alani, Grand Floridian.
But remember when we were waiting to go into the Vatican Museum, we were talking to that couple from California, and they had a boatload too.
Yeah.
I think they said they had 3,000? It was stupid.
That's wild.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Just think if we got into that thing in 92 or whatever when Old Key West opened, weren't they selling for $30 a point, $45 a point or something? That would have been the move. Anyway.
But it was great too, because then when I went down, he and I started talking about music, and then he's like, "Oh, if you want to come down to Austin City Limits, you can stay with me, and my wife doesn't like any of that
Got
stuff,
like an
so she'll
air
drive
mattress.
us."
Yeah, he's gonna be his wife's gonna be the designated driver.
I'm like, I might take you up on that.
There you go.
So then what? The next day we got up and we got off the boat. It was the first time we didn't have.
Took it easy though. We slept in a little bit because we didn't have any excursions planned.
Oh, nice.
Kind of get on and off the ship as we wanted to. So I think I brought you breakfast again because we slept so late that you were going to miss breakfast.
Yeah, we had breakfast on the balcony.
Oh, nice.
But it's funny because there were a couple of days that I brought breakfast down for him. And the first time I did it, one of the room attendants, he wasn't ours, but another one on the floor saw me and he's like, "What is this, room service?" He's like, he's like, "You're a good spouse." He's like, "I hope he's doing the laundry or something in exchange for this." So when he saw me the second time, he said, "Did he do the laundry yet?" I said, "Nope, laundry's still not done." He's like, "Well, I'm happy to eat that plate of food if you don't want to give it to him." But yeah, we had breakfast and then we got off the ship and walked around Palermo.
So is that a more like your pace kind of thing where you could just go about it and do what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, we just had to be back on the ship by
5
or 6. So
yeah.
But it was, I don't know, Palermo, like the city itself is beautiful, but the people were very pushy. Like they have a lot of kind of sidewalk cafes and street cafes, and like you would stop and look at a menu and they're like, "Oh, we have a seat, 2 of you." And we're like, "No, we're just looking." "Oh, we can make whatever you want." "What do you?" I'm like, "Well, we're just trying to figure out, what we want to do." And it kind of got annoying to me.
Oh, really?
yeah, it got to a point because every time you just walk by a restaurant, they were trying to get you in there.
Like even if like we might have just eaten, they said, "Oh, come on, sit." And no, we literally just ate. But we did stumble across, they're kind of famous for their street markets.
Oh, okay.
And so we stumbled across a couple of them. And that's where we ended up eating. And that's where we had our bad experience.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
We
Bad food experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had kind of gone up and down a couple of the markets and looked and like, "Oh, do we want to try this? What do we want?" And you wanted calamari.
Yes.
So we found a place and they had the rings and they're like, "We can fry them or we can," they said they could do something else with them too. Broil them, I don't know, something.
Mm.
We're like, "Oh yeah, that sounds really good." Well, they were so chewy that they were almost inedible.
Oh, jeez.
And I mean, they weren't expensive at all. It was what, like 15 euros or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a big portion. So it wasn't like a ripoff in terms of pricing or anything like that, but it didn't taste
bad.
good. It wasn't cooked
Yeah.
properly. So then we went to a different spot and we got, what did we get? A lasagna?
We got lasagna.
And some kind of spaghetti or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just basically like spaghetti with meat sauce.
And that was amazing.
That was good. Yep. Yeah, it was just the calamari was like, I took a bite. I'm like, I can't eat any more of this. It was basically an edible.
I was trying to force it down because again, like we had paid for it and I didn't want to waste it, but it was not good.
Yeah.
But the issue I had in Palermo at those markets was, like the little booths like would have seating, but everybody's smoking.
Oh, yeah.
And like I actually started getting sick because of the smoke. Like my throat hurt.
Yeah.
I was coughing.
Like when you've been around it so much, like your throat's starting to tickle.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's how it was. I mean, I thought Spain was bad. Italy, you were in the minority if you weren't smoking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Isn't it?
But yeah, I mean, especially because we're not used to it. You don't see it anywhere in the U.S. So how often do you walk by someone that's smoking a cigarette?
You
Down
don't.
here actually a little more often than up north.
Yeah, because I think you got those old New Yorkers.
Right, but it's like it's
coffee and my cigarette.
But like stands out, and you can like smell it
Certainly
on
does.
people and stuff. Like if they come in having smoked, but yeah, I guess if you're just dealing with it, I don't know how we grow up with that. Like at the restaurants, go to Cello's and sit in the non-smoking section. It was like a foot away from the smoking people.
But I thought the city itself was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like we saw the theater where they filmed Godfather 2, some of the
okay.
days Godfather Part 2, and um like there was a museum that Mike wanted to go to and we couldn't find it on the map that we had. So I stopped. He looked like a security guard outside one of the buildings, and I was trying to ask him, and he's like, no English, no English, and he's basically like, the theater's here, and this other place is here, and I'm like, that's not where we're trying to go. So I'm like, we're never gonna find this place. I'm like, well, there's a hotel right here. I'm like, let's go in there. Somebody in the hotel is gonna have to speak English. So sure enough, she gave us directions, and they were perfect.
So what was this museum that you wanted to go?
It was called the No Mafia Museum, and I think they've got a couple of them because Gary Cole went to one that was in Corleone, and that's like a real legit one. This was more of a walking, just had pictures and talked a little bit about the history.
But when he says pictures, like pictures of like people who had been murdered by the mafia. So I got like halfway through.
Pretty
like,
graphic part. You don't want to bring the little ones.
No,
not
like,
at their
ages.
Go
wait for you outside.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a difference between like movie murders and like real life crime scene photos.
Right.
Definitely hits different.
There's a lot of blood.
Yeah, I bet.
But it was nice because we didn't have anywhere we had to be. So we just kind of strolled around and took our time and got to a point where it was hot. So we're like, let's just go back to the ship.
Well, where did we stop before we got on the ship?
Well, the one thing that I had wanted that I hadn't had was a cannoli.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a bakery.
Got to get a cannoli in Sicily, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It's cannolo, actually. Cannoli is plural, but whatever. So we found this little bakery right before we were going to cross the street to go back to the port. And we walk in, and who's in there but hippie guy?
There he is.
Oh, nice.
Mr. Sophisticated. He's got his like coffee with his holding his pinky out. That was a difference between the two of us, is that we were dirty beer drinkers at night, but he was Mr. Sophistication in the afternoon. I was just a dirty hungover beer drinker the next day.
No, you weren't bad.
No, I didn't drink much.
But so we sat with Tim and his wife and enjoyed our dessert. You liked it. You thought it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
And then we went back to the ship. We did our spa thing. I think we actually maybe took a nap.
Yeah, because we got back relatively early.
Yeah, I think we were back by like 3. And so we still had maybe a few hours before we were going anywhere. And then that was our last night with our restaurant friends.
Yeah.
Oh, right, because you had the upgrade.
Yes, we did. Yeah, the next night we did. So that was our last dinner with our La Familia.
So that was back at Enchanted Garden. And it was good. It was a good meal. We went and had our picture taken all together. It was nice. It was a good night.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's when, because we had the day at sea the next day, that's when I went to the bar and hung out with Mike and Hippie Guy.
Oh, because you knew you could sleep in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I was so excited because I had wanted a Peroni, and we just hadn't been anywhere where I like was in the mood for a beer. And I was like, all right, well, they have it on the ship. I was like, I didn't really want to have it on the ship because it doesn't really count. I was like, but I guess the ship's docked in Italy, so it sort of counts. They were out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they were out, and they were out of Bud Light. And then when we went down that night, I saw it on the handle. I said, Rosario, would you just get a shipment in? He goes, we just got a bunch of fresh kegs in. Because he was afraid that they weren't going to have Bud Light for the entire ship. I said, where do you have Bud Light? He goes, we don't have any. We can't get any. It's like, we're not going to get them until we get back to Barcelona. I'm like, oh, that is not cool. So
where did they get it from?
I think they got it in Italy.
No.
I think they got a couple of kegs there.
You said people going.
I would have helped them roll it up right through security.
You need a hand?
Rosario, where do you want this?
That's funny.
Yeah, so that was a night that we hung out with Hippie Guy. Then Hippie Guy and I went to the other bar just outside and closed that one out. I got a gin and tonic, and he
Oh
was
no.
drinking. What was the stuff he was drinking? Remember, it had those tops.
Oh, he was drinking Blanton's
You ever heard of Blanton's?
bourbon.
No. Oh, it's a type of bourbon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they have like these like like racing horses.
The stoppers.
They were like
Okay.
the stoppers. So I guess like there's a set of 6, and like
They're
it's big time to
collectible.
be collecting them. So they're like Kentucky Derby, like they have the jockeys on top of the horse. So Hippie Guy asked the bartender. He said, "If you finish that, can I get that topper?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he said, "How much is left?" He goes, "There's one pour left."
No.
Hippie Guy's like, "How much is that?" Guy's like, $22. He's looking at me. I'm like, "Just do it." He's like, "All right." So he ended up doing it. He got the topper. And then the following night, we met him back there again, and he got a second topper. So we got like 2 or 3 just on that cruise.
Oh, nice. Now that you say that, I have seen those online. Like I didn't realize it was Blanton's, but I've seen those bottles with the horse on top.
Yeah. And they made me a gin and tonic, Pards.
Yeah.
And when Tim was watching them pour it, he goes, "Oh my God." He goes, "It's 90% gin."
Ugh.
And I'm like, "Oh no." So bartender came over, he put it down, and he's like Jamaican. He goes, "Yeah, we had a problem." He goes, "Just slow and go and slow, go slow, go slow." I said, "All right." I go out and I take a sip. I'm like, "Oh my God." I might not be able to drive when we get back to Miami in 3 nights.
Ugh. I hate gin. Like the worst thing. Tastes like
Actually, I'm sorry. It was Tito's because I had vodka tonics. It was Tito's.
Oh, okay.
Because I was texting Alex because Alex is a big Tito's guy.
Yeah, people like Tito's. So that was pretty much it for that night.
That's it.
Excuse me.
That's it. That was that day 6?
Yeah.
And that was your last port, right?
That was it. That was it.
And it
Very
was
nice.
so busy, but it went by so fast. Don't you think?
Yeah, it went by really fast.
Like it was like blink and it's over.
Yeah. Well, you guys were on the move. You didn't have a lot of like rest and relaxation time.
None
You
at
were
all.
Constantly filled.
Not at all.
That's
You
why
were like
packing.
the rope dropping weasels when they go to Disney World. You were up.
We
out
were.
of yeah.
Yeah, we were. It was tough. But I wouldn't have done it any different because there was
No,
just
you have to.
you got to see that, right? I mean, what are you going to say? I don't
course.
want to go to the Vatican. Don't want to take a nap and watch TV.
I mean, it's tempting, but
Well, they're doing 70s trivia in the bar at 2
see.
p.m.
That's pretty good. Probably have a really good chance of winning if everyone's in Rome. There's probably like 4 people there.
It's true. The only thing that I thought was a little confusing were the rules for like each port as to like whether you had to have your actual passport or a copy of your passport.
Yeah, because the first day when we went to Florence, it said like in the guide that you just had to have a photocopy of your passport. So that's what we had, and we were fine. And then for Rome, those excursions were huge, so there were huge lines. We get right up to where they're gonna assign us like what section to go to, and they're like,
Yeah.
no, you need to have your full passports. You got to be. So Kristen had to run up to the room. I had to get into the back of the line, and then we had to start it again.
Which fortunately it wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
Because what did it
but
take me?
still.
Like 10 minutes.
It
to
took
get up
10.
and
It took
down.
10 minutes, but by the time we got through, our group had already boarded the bus.
Oh, gotcha.
Like we were 131, and they're like, "Oh, 131's already boarded. We'll get you to the bus." And they couldn't find the bus, and then somebody out there with the walkie-talkie said, "I think they already left." We're like, "Well, then you got to get us on another bus. We got to go with another group." I paid $1,000 for this, or $450 for this thing.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it because where else was it confusing? When we came back, was it Naples or was it Sicily? Where they actually checked all our stuff, because usually they would just check it on the Disney cruise. But remember, we were in that
we had
port,
to go through the metal detectors.
yeah,
and
customs
everything.
before we even got near the cruise line.
I think
it was Naples.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So a little miscommunication on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I guess it wouldn't have been bad if you just always had the actual passport. Right? You wouldn't. It's not like they'd reject the real passport if you only
Correct.
need a photocopy.
Right, but I mean, you don't really want to be.
You don't want to
carrying
carry it
that
if you
around
don't
in case
have
you
to.
get pickpocketed.
I understand that. Yeah, that's true. That's true too. But anything else you want to say about these last 2 days?
No, that's about it. By the way, this is going to be the last week that we are on the WDW Beyond the Gates podcast feed.
Oh,
so if you want to listen to episode 4, Trip Review 4, it's only going to be on our new RSS feed. Addicted to DVC. You can find us where you enjoy your podcast.
Yeah, so go over, subscribe over there, follow us over there. It helps. We appreciate it.
I should do that, huh?
Well, you're not going to listen, so I mean, it would help with numbers.
Downloads and download parts.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, it's sad that your friends who I barely know listen to the show and message you.
I don't think that's sad. I think it's nice.
I think it's great, but I'm just, we get no support from
the family.
Our family, do we?
I'm here, aren't I?
That's a good point.
Begrudgingly.
Mary listened. She said she likes the intro and outro.
Yeah, she texted me last week and said the same thing. Anyways, that's about it. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and YouTube, our new YouTube channel, at DVC Addicts. Email the show, info at addictedtodvc.com, and join our Facebook group, DVC Addicts. For my cousin Gary up in Rhode Island, I'm Mike in sunny Sarasota, Florida, joined by Suzie in sunny Sarasota, Florida. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you for listening to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. We want to hear from you. Email us at info@addictedtodvc.com and follow us on all socials at DVC Addicts. We appreciate you being a part of our DVC community, and we'll see you again on our next episode. Thanks again for listening, and welcome home.